I got the first question here. It's going to be directed to Congressman Blunt. What happens to the Bush tax cuts if Congress does nothing?
Well, if Congress does nothing, they go away. And, we thought when we passed those good tax cuts in 2001 that we were sending them to a Senate where they had a chance to become permanent. Virtually the same time we sent them over, the senator from Vermont changed parties. And instead of controlling the House by the vice by one, they controlled the House by the Senate rather by one. So they just go away. Now, tax policy is the only thing that I know of that we have ever used reconciliation for. This reconciliation idea where 51 senators could within a budget window, change the future of the country. Tax policy is always up and down anyway. That's much different than using that same tool to now change health care for a decade. Because if you change health care for a decade, you will never get it changed back. If you change tax policy, it encourages things to happen that wouldn't have happened during that decade. The 10% bracket was a great thing to do. Every single American got a tax cut that minute. The person that barely got into the level of income that paid taxes was from that minute for the next decade paying 10% rather than 15% on that first dollar. And dropping the top bracket meant that every small business in America, instead of paying 39%, was paying 35%. And that 4%, let's face it, many people in this room are small business people. People in this room have taken second mortgages on their house to make their business grow. People who take the second mortgage on their house to make their business grow also will take that 4% of the tax cut and use it to make their business grow. And these go away, and that's what the Democrats want to have happen. Their spending is predicated on these tax cuts going away. In fact, the budget that the President submitted the day after the State of the Union, 44%, you can safely say almost half, if you can't remember 44%, 44% of all small business income will be taxed at a higher level next year than it is this year. The President got the target right, a year late, but right, private sector job creation. And then he talks about raising taxes. He talks about raising your utility bill with climate change, so-called climate change legislation. And he talked about the fact that people just hadn't really understood yet what he wanted to do with health care. All three of those messages are not job-creating messages, and these taxes go away. If they don't do something about the death tax, which at this moment is zero, if nothing happens on the death tax, it goes back to 55% on every dollar over $1 million on things that people have paid taxes on over and over again. I think it's safe to say we're all three zero death tax. We'd like to see the zero death tax stay at zero. That was our goal certainly 10 years ago. It's at least possible that their plan is to, one, get it back to 55% in 10 months, two, just to keep counting the money like it was going to be 55%. So it's another tool they'll use to make their deficit spending seem even lower than it will turn out to be, just like all the gimmicks in the healthcare debate. But these good tax policies go away December 31st of this year, and you spend more of your time working for the government again than you have in the last decade.
Thank you very much.